Thank you very much. Now we're going into the party conventions. Each party will be given 25 minutes to present its platform, its candidates, speakers, music, anything they want to do. 25 minutes. The allotted time begins as soon as the first party presenter utters the first sound from their mouth. Or if they're playing a song, any noise, that's when it begins. The main thing we need to remember is be respectful. The folk up here, candidates, once again, takes a lot of courage. So we're requesting silence, attention, respect. Respect. If somebody stumbles or falters, just try to provide support. Feel free to participate if you are encouraged by those presenting to participate. That'll be up to you. Our able-bodied timekeeper, Mr. Al Hall, is in the back. We are going to, we're starting off with stop, so we're going to run through these just to be sure. The first is 15-minute warning, 10-minute warning, 5-minute warning, 1-minute warning, 30 seconds, stop, do not say another word. After the party conventions, we will move into the candidate debate phase, which will be moderated by our educational coordinator, Chris Sharps. So, which party gets to go first? I call up the Nationalist Party Chairman, Mr. Romano. As soon as you say anything, the time begins. Good luck to everyone participating. Thank you.
Hi guys, I am your Nationalist Party Chairman. And in Boys Day fashion, I will be introducing the introducer. And for our keynote speaker today, we have Sean Eggleman.
For clarification, my name's actually Eggleston, not Eggleton. So without further ado, how are you guys doing tonight? So I'm going to start out with a little nationalist chant we prepared earlier this evening. All right, so be rational, vote national, be rational, vote national. All right, that was good. I'm hearing Federalist, so that's okay. So real quick, we're going to go over our party platform, which is HEAF, which stands for Health, Environment, Education, and Financial Reform. So for health, we mainly plan to focus on the opioid crisis and reforming our healthcare system, providing rehab facilities, making them bigger and more easily accessible. For environment, we plan to announce regulations on chemical plants, mountaintop mining, and overall protect the great beauty of the state of West Virginia. For education, we want to increase funding for our education system and increase teacher pay. We also want to appoint a board of higher authority to oversee education spending, make sure it's used in the right place, and oversee the lower boards of education. And for financial, we want to promote land use using the land value tax, and we also want to lower taxes for the 80th percentile of people in income, and also promote small businesses throughout the state. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first candidate, Silas, for Commissioner of Agriculture.
nationalist candidate for Commissioner of Agriculture. Let me start off with telling you why I'm the most qualified out of the two candidates for Commissioner of Agriculture. So, I was born and raised in Berkeley County, one of the most agricultural counties out of the state, and I've lived on a farm since I was 3 years old. Me and my family, we own and operate and run a small business. We raise beef, pork, chicken, and eggs, and we take it out to local farmers markets and we sell it to people so that they have good food to eat. So, but because of this, because of my background in farming, I feel a very deep passion for creating good, healthy food for people to eat. Because I believe that without food, without good food, we wouldn't be able to accomplish anything, right? I mean, we need food to be able to do anything. We need food to be able to live. So, yeah, I mean, I just really like food, right? So, let me talk about my policies. So, one of the main things I support is small farmers, right? Because small farmers are generally producing a healthier product for the people that they're selling it to, right? And they're often, well, just in general, a local economy is better because if you have good, strong local economies that make up the state economy is going to be stronger, right? So because of that, I'm going to start taking a lot of the government money we give to industrial, agricultural, and corporational farms, and I'm going to shift that towards more smaller farmers, more local farmers that are producing a healthier product. And as a result of this, these smaller, healthier farmers that are producing better stuff will be able to sell their product at a higher rate so that we'll be able to produce more for a lower cost, right? So that means more food available, good food available for everybody, which is my main goal as Commissioner of Agriculture. But the other side of that is when we support small farmers are generally using practices that are better for the environment, right? So I'm going to start incentivizing farmers to start using these practices called regenerative agriculture. It's basically a set of farming techniques that are designed to be better for the environment, to better the environment, right? Just to give an example, one of the main things is called rotational grazing. That's where you take your animals and you graze them on pasture, but you move them every day instead of just leaving them to live in their own manure. And this is really good for the soil health, which is the main thing. The main thing is promoting soil health, building up the soil, because if the soil health is good, the grass is good, and when the grass does photosynthesis and all that cool stuff, it brings in carbon and puts it into the soil. It makes the soil healthier again, and the cycle just repeats. You're gonna be skeptical, but I believe that if all of the agriculture in the US used these practices, we could reverse climate change and we could go carbon zero. So that's my thing, man. I like food and I think it's really powerful, and I want you all to vote for me. So there you go.
Without further ado, our next candidate is MJ for Secretary of State.
What's up, guys? My name is MJ Niggemeier, and I'm running for Secretary of State for the Nationalist Party. So what's most important for me is really educating people on civics so we get more people willing to vote within our state, and also bringing in more people in our state and making it a better community as a whole. So to do that, I want more educating on civics within our schools. Obviously, that's what educates people. So if we raise the teacher salaries, then more educators within our state will stay in our state, and then they'll be more willing to educate the people in our schools. And since they're from our state, they'll be more willing to keep the people that are going into our schools within our state, if that makes sense. It's all like a circle. As well as, that gets more people to go out and vote. And also, if we educate our students on civics, they'll be more willing to vote by the time they get to 18. In 1971, the 26th Amendment was passed, and that lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. So many of you guys out there will be able to vote in the next election. Luckily for me, I have an August birthday, so I will be 18 by the general election, and I was able to vote a month ago. And that was one of the greatest things that I've done within my life, and it really changed me as a person, because I get to participate in our government, and I get to choose who will lead our country, or our state and country. Along with that, that also ties into the right people running for the right offices. So if we educate the people within our schools, then they'll be more willing to participate in government whenever they get older, and we can have the right people running for offices, people that are less extreme, people that will do the right thing for the community rather than their political party. That's civics, not politics. Politics is running, but once you get into office, you're more civil. You want to do the right thing for your community, the right thing for the people, rather than the right thing for your political party. So I really do want to push that out and get the right people running for office so our states can succeed and we can have a better community. And people aren't just doing things for themselves and their own benefit, but they're doing the right things for the right people within their communities. Along with that, the betterment of our communities. So we have a land income tax within our party, and that'll eliminate the abandoned buildings and the abandoned property that's not being used within our towns. If you go around the state, you see a lot of downtown communities, a lot of communities within our cities, and those communities are, run down. They don't look good. They're not very appealing. So you're not bringing in more people to our state because it's ugly. It doesn't look amazing. We also have our state parks in one national park within our state, and they're beautiful. So I want to keep the environment good too, and we can bring in more people to our state. And then if we educate those people on civics as well, we can get those people to vote, and we can get even more voters, and our voter turnout rate can raise. Because as we said earlier this week, it was only 30% in the last election. We need to get that up to 50%. The states that are higher up in that rank, we want to be on level with them. So along with that, bring in more people to our state. My mom is from Florida. She's not from our state. She has lived in multiple other places. She was in the Air Force. She was in Nebraska because she was in the Air Force. But she loves West Virginia because it's beautiful. It's the right place to be. So if we can bring in more people from out of state and bring them into our state because our communities are beautiful, we have state parks, we're a naturally beautiful state, then we can thrive as a community. We can have a higher population. We can have better industry. We can bring in more companies to our state. We can have better local businesses because there's people paying those local businesses because we have more people. So as a whole, the betterment of our communities, beautiful communities, more people voting, it all ties into us being thriving as a state. So I hope that you guys will vote for me Secretary of State, and I can help get those things done. Thank you.
All right, next candidate is Hunter Miley for Attorney General.
Right. I am the nationalist candidate for Attorney General, and I just want to start things out by saying I am doing this for all of you guys. Every single one of you here has the rights and the ability to do incredible things, but your rights cannot be alienated to where you are being put down. As Attorney General, I'm fighting for your guys' rights to make sure that all the dreams and accomplishments that we all know that you can do will happen. As we said in our HEAF acronym, one of the things we want to fight against is bad health. The opioid crisis is currently ravaging West Virginia. What we want to do, specifically me, we want to fight against that. I will be the head of state law. I will represent us in courses to limit opioids coming into our state and being used and people getting hooked and dying off of them. That is one thing that our state could majorly benefit from. I want to attack environmental pollution coming from chemical companies and runoffs. I want to hit that at the source by leading the state in major cases where we can limit the damage being done to our beautiful state and to people getting sick. My father does law. He's been a prosecutor. He has been in injury trials. So as growing up, I've seen a lot of different spectrums of the law, and I feel like I would be a great fit knowing many different portions of the law. Being the head representative of the state, leading you guys in prosecution cases or defending this state, I believe that I would be able to hold us down and keep us as the great state that we are. Like I said, the law will be used to propel our state to the fullest extent. Thank you guys. My name is Hunter Miley. Please vote me at the polls.
Ronan. He's running for auditor for the Nationalist Party. How's it going, Blue State? Everybody follow? My name is Ronan Bartasevich from Jefferson High School. Now I'm running for the job of auditor. The job of auditor is to examine the accounting records, audit statements, and work with the treasurer to keep them truthful. That's what I stand on. I stand for integrity and truthfulness. I'm here for the Nationalist Party, and I plan to stand on Heath and stand on business. Let's go. Don't get loco, go for Bartow. Alright, up next we have McCheesy himself, Alexander Marquise, as treasurer.
How we doing? I just want to say that thank you for your support, but we still have work to do. The job ain't finished. But as treasurer, you're looking at me like, what does the treasurer do? The money. He manages the money. And it is my job, and I put it on myself, that I'm going to work as hard as I can. I'm going to make sure we don't go into debt. Because some of us are already in debt. We're going to try to get us out of debt, all of us out of debt, leave debt free. All right? I think it's really important. One of our main pillars is financial reform. How do we uphold that without starting from the root, from within? And that's what I believe that I want to jumpstart the financial reform and have safe spending, as on the sign, safe spending and powerful spending, and not just throwing our money around in places they don't need to be. I want to be honest with you guys. I don't want to lie to you. I want to, and if I have to have a tough decision, then I want to consult everyone, and I want everyone to know that we're going to do the best that we can. And just trust in the cheese.
Last, but certainly not least, we have Nikita, the man himself, and our candidate for governor.
How we doing, boys? Steady! How we doing, Federalists? Let's go. Let's go a little bit more. A little bit more. How we doing? How we doing, Nationalists? My name is Nikita Atack. You might have seen it up here a couple times. I want to get serious for a second. If you guys can take me seriously, I want you guys to close your eyes. I'm going to do a little visualization exercise. I did this with the Nationalists. It worked pretty well, so just close your eyes. Imagine you're coming home from Boise State, or you're leaving to Boise State. You're coming out of the neighborhood, maybe coming in from the interstate, and you look out the window, and you've got a McDonald's, a Walmart, maybe, a CVS and a Walgreens right next to each other. Maybe an Eaton Park, but, you know. But do you really see any small business around? Barely. You're lucky if you do. You guys can open your eyes now. But we don't want that. A lot of most West Virginians don't want that. I know the Nationalists don't want that. I hope the Federalists don't want that. We want more small business, and that is the main platform of the Nationalists. We want a domestic industry, a domestic economy that can boom on its own without relying on big corporations coming in. For example, the problem with this, for example, a lot of these small communities in, let's say, southern West Virginia, they rely on just like the one pharmacy they have in their community. Maybe they have one Walgreens, maybe they have one CVS. So they rely on the medication they get from that pharmacy. If it goes out, what do? They have nowhere to go. And that's not good. So we want less of that. We want more small business, because small business is good for West Virginia economy, good for the appeal of West Virginia. We don't want people just coming and visiting. We want people staying in West Virginia. That's what we want as Nationalists. That's what I know the Federalists want. I hope you guys want that. I hope you want that. Other than that, I'm big on educational reform. Like we said, we want to increase funding into education. The way I see we do it, I want to focus on STEM and business programs, not only in high school, but directly coming out of high school. I want it to be a step-up program for each community, so people can go from not just learning STEM and business, but applying it to real life, getting a job in STEM, maybe starting up a business. Not only do I want these programs in each community, I want it to be a statewide standard. So instead of just building up all these small councils for these programs and wherever they may be, if it's all one standard in West Virginia, that's less bureaucracy, that's less positions, that's less funding that we need to give to each of these positions. That's more funding for the teachers, that's more funding for the schools. And that's what we want. That's the nationalist way. I think it's the best way. I don't want to go into the rest of our platform yet. That's for the debate. I want to talk more about myself, why I think I could be governor, why I think I'm a good pick. But I just want to say, first of all, thank you to all of you guys, all the staff, the counselors, the band members. It's great. I want to thank you guys. I came in here just like all of you guys. Even though I knew what I wanted, I had no clue. I didn't think I was going to come up here. I couldn't have done it without you guys, to be honest. And I met a lot of you guys that are driven, motivated, unlike anything I've ever seen before. A lot of you guys know what you want to do, and if you don't know what you want to do, you still want to do something. And I want to take all of this motivation, I want to take all of this drive that I see in each and every one of you guys, and I want to guide you. I want to take you where I know you can go. I want to take this 85th Boys State to the top. I had a couple of guys I knew from Morgantown that came from my school, but I met a lot of other guys. All of you guys are nice guys, I know that for sure. I met Odell, sorry. I met Tevin, I've been saying their names wrong. I met Michael, I met a lot of Michaels, a lot of Jacksons, Andrews, a couple Christians, a lot of these guys. I met Big H. I met Big Mike, he's out there. I met Bear. I met J Love. Where's J Love at? Josh? QB1. Yeah? QB1? I met all these guys, they're great, I love them. I hope we can get closer. We've got only, 4 more days. I really want to get closer to you guys. I want to listen to you guys. I'm here for you guys just the way that you guys were here for me. I am a first-generation American, so I want to welcome you guys the same way that the United States has welcomed me. And I'm proud of this country. I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of Boys State. I want to see you guys on top. That's the only way we do this. Thank you. Nikita Atack. I just want to say one last thing. Remember the name.
Ask the Federalists to keep an open mind. We're not your enemy, we're your friends, just like you at this camp. And the Nationalists, thank you guys for your support and for all the candidates. So I say we give them a final round of applause. And I'm going to hand it back over to our Nationalist Party Chairman.
I just want to say thank you guys. I thought our candidates did a fantastic job. We thank the crowd. We thank everyone for being here. And we hope you vote Nationalist. If you don't, not much we can do about that, but we really appreciate it. And we're going to pass it on to the Federalists. Thank you. Let's hear it one more time from the Nationalist Party.
Thank you all for this opportunity. We're going to get started right off. So, my friend Nicholas Corey, my bad, has prepared our opening speech. So I'll invite him up to give that. Let's give him a round of applause.
I bring greetings to distinguished guests, the staff, and most importantly, my fellow citizens. My name is Okori Nicholas. I have the honor of presenting the Federalist Party. Our goal is to unify both parties, and your chairman, Michael, is a good friend. I love that we have debates and discourse because rethinking the issues will give us the ability to take informed action. As the proverb says, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Today, I stand before you to declare that unity is crucial in our pursuit of a stronger nation. Our motto will be, if it is to be, it's up to me. Whenever I say, if it is to be, I want you to respond with conviction. It's up to me. In this great democracy, we believe that the best candidate is the one who will fight tirelessly for your rights, your freedom, and your prosperity. So if it's meant to be, it's up to you to make it happen. Let's show our commitment to this cause and echo this mantra together. Let's unite and take ownership of our future. Let's demonstrate that we are the change makers, the trailblazers, and the champions of our own destiny. Together we can achieve greatness and build a brighter future for ourselves and for the generations to come. Let's hear it. If it is to be, it's up to me. If it is to be, it's up to me. I said, if it is to be, it's up to me. Imagine a West Virginia where opportunity knocks on every door, where our economy thrives and our people prosper. Without platform, we're unlocking the doors to a brighter future. Picture bustling main streets where local businesses flourish and new jobs are created, injecting life into our communities. Our economy will boom and our people will reap the rewards. Legalize gambling. Legalize gambling and marijuana will pour fresh revenue into our state's coffers, funding vital public services and programs. We'll invest in our future without burdening our taxpayers. We'll leave the shadows of illegal activities behind and shine a light on a safer, more just society. Criminal justice costs will plummet, and our law enforcement can focus on protecting our communities, not clogging our ports. Our economy will diversify like a garden blooming with vibrant colors. No longer will we rely on a single sector. We'll spread our wings and soar. Tourism and entertainment will flourish, showcasing our beautiful state to this world. West Virginia, let's seize this moment. Let's build an economy that works for all, where every citizen can thrive. Together, we'll write a new chapter in our state's history, one of growth, prosperity, and freedom. We are the men of tomorrow. God bless us all. Thank you.
That was a heck of a speech, Nicholas. All right, we're gonna start with the Commissioner of Agriculture, Sean Bell. Come on up.
Hello everyone, how are y'all doing today? Good! Alright, like he said, my name's Sean Bell, I'm running for Commissioner of Agriculture for the Federalist Party, the best party. Well, like I said, I'm going for Commissioner of Agriculture. The Federalist Party believes in economic freedom. We really want to endorse legalization of marijuana. We're going to take this tax revenue and usually take it for the conserving of the wildlife and land, which will in turn put the growth of our economy, which will bring in more tourism. I plan to make the tax revenues, like I said, for our economy and our wildlife, which will just better our natural resources and all that. So, thank you. Vote Sean Bell, Commissioner of Agriculture.
All right, next up, we have Isaiah Irons for auditor. Isaiah Irons.
Hello fellow citizens, my name is Isaiah Irons and I am your Federalist candidate for auditor. I have a strong opinion on taxes. I'm sure a lot of us in here agree with me on that we do not like paying our taxes. So, with paying our taxes can feel like we have gotten robbed of a lot of our money. As I believe that the money that we put in taxes to the government should come back to the people. And sure, you've driven through like the back roads of West Virginia, you see the conditions of our potholes and our roads and other problems that should be paid for by the taxes that we pay. Should be come back to the people and those in our parks and other issues that we have. I am a man of the people. I believe that the government, as in the Constitution, should be for the people, not the people for the government. I believe that as auditor, I am the voice of the people to make sure that our financial decisions are what the people want. And as for the government's financial, should go for the people. So I'm a voice that you can reach out through to get into what the financial decisions of the government are. I believe that I am qualified for this position as I have had high math classes in my career here, and I'm a descendant of an accountant, so I already have financial knowledge. I believe that equal participation from nationalists and federalists should be put through me. Even though I'm a federalist, I believe that I should be able to voice for the nationalists as well if I'm appointed. Well, a strong steel is made from good iron. I believe that a strong government needs Isaiah Irons. Vote Isaiah Irons.
Next up, Johnny Sims for treasurer.
Hello, fellow Boys State Americans. I'm Jonathan Sims, also known as the Johnny Sims. I believe and I feel, as well as my fellow Federalists feel, that I would be a great choice for treasurer. I'm here for all of you guys, not just the Federalists, but also the Nationalists, and also an undercover neutral guy. listen, for us, we believe that the economy is very strong, and it should be like one of the strongest suits, and like the strongest part of the government. I mean, besides like the army and stuff, but money fuels everything, and the way that we figured out for that to work is by bringing casinos. And the recreational use of marijuana. But I think what's one of the best things about all of this stuff is the new upcoming jobs. Because right now, there's not that many jobs out there. So I think that should be. I'm gonna try to keep the government fueled with money. Not gonna like let it go negative or anything, because who likes money? Let's be honest. Who likes money? That's what I thought. And if you guys want money and keep money in the government, y'all should vote Johnny Sins for treasurer.
All right, next up, Attorney General Jack Burton.
Hey guys, my name is Jack Burton. I am running for Attorney General. I am, of course, the Federalist candidate. And the Attorney General, it's kind of an underground, not enough people talk about the roles of Attorney General and what exactly it is. And the Attorney General is the legal representative for the state. So you need somebody who's going to be strong, somebody who's going to hear the people and be for the people. And I believe I am that person. I want to be there to stand strong for the voices that are out there for the people, like a stone wall. All right, so let's talk about some problems. What are some problems that we could fix legally? So Boise State commonly likes to say it's all about fun, or not all about fun, but they like to have fun. If you like to have fun, where are the casinos, am I right? With casinos, we can have an awesome economic stream that we didn't have before, and we can have a lot more fun. And I just think, Boise State would be better with gambling. And this is another important thing. So I've been all about, Federalists are better than Nationalists. We're going to send the Nationalists to Pound Town. But now that I've gotten here, I see that you guys are just as beautiful as us, and you guys are the same as us. We've had fun together, we've talked together, we cabin together. We're all awesome, and I believe that we need our representation to be equal. And I see you guys as equals, and honestly, some of you I looked up to. So I love all of you, and I'd love to have your vote as nationalists. Love you too.
Vote Jack Burton, Attorney General. All right. Next up, Secretary of State Matthew Springsteen.
All right, guys. I want to start this off with a quote from the great Travis Kelce, my bad. My fellow Americans. Okay, my name is Matthew Springsteen. I'm for Secretary of State. And the great thing that I want to do here is provide economic growth. And the best way to do that is what? What do you guys think?
Gambling! Gambling! Everybody knows it's gambling. Everybody knows it. We need it. You guys need it. These guys need it. Everybody needs gambling. So that's mainly my gist. I want to provide economic growth, and I want to help you guys be heard. You guys need to give me ideas. I can get it to the governor. I can provide everybody with information that needs to be, and we can get a strong government that flows correctly. Thank you. Vote me, Matthews, Princeton.
Alright, finally, the man of the hour, Hayden Hodge.
Thank you all. So, like it's been said, my name is Hayden Hodge. I've tried to introduce myself to as many people as possible, but there's so many people here sometimes it's hard to meet everyone. So if I haven't met you yet, I'd like to meet you after the speech, after the convention and all that. I'd love to meet you at some point, but I could stand up here and I could talk about my experiences. I could talk about the clubs that I founded. I could talk about the law that I wrote and got signed into law by Jim Justice himself this past year. I could talk about that, but all of us have incredible accomplishments, right? So I don't want to stand up here and brag about my own accomplishments when we all have our own. I can stand up here and I can ramble about all the things that I support, but at this point you've heard the Federalist Party platform. Many of you all know me and you know what I stand for. So I'm sitting here in my chair and I'm wondering, okay, what can I say that's going to stand out? What can I say that are going to make you guys remember me? And I wanted to talk about what a true leader is. A leader, I saw a picture, I don't know how long it's been, but I saw a picture and it had the caption of boss. And the boss, the picture showed this guy in the back of a line telling the people in front of him where to go. And they were pulling their boss in a chariot of a sort, right? And then directly below that it said leader. And the leader was standing in the front, leading his troops, his followers, in the right way to behave, what they should support, and led them from the ground. A true leader doesn't stand up on a stage and tower over all of you as if he's above the rest of you. A true leader is down here on the floor with you. A true leader walks with his men, not above his men. One of my favorite leaders, actually I take that back, those of you that know me most know that I'm a Hamilton guy, so Jefferson isn't my favorite. But in an effort to get my point across with unity, I will use a Jefferson quote, despite my love for Hamilton. He said, "Today we are all Republicans, today we are all Federalists." And at his time, the two main political parties were the Republicans and the Federalists. And now we have the Federalists and the Nationalists. And I would like to echo Jefferson in saying, today we are all Nationalists, and today we are all Federalists. We are all one body, voice state, one body, and the goal of this body is to elect the best person for the job. No matter what their name tag says, no matter what color their signs are, it's to pick the best person. I will do that, and I hope that you will do that too. Thank you guys so much.
All right, so I'm pretty sure we all remember the nationalist candidates. Just once again, gonna run through this list. Governor Hayden Hodge, Secretary of State Matthew Springston, Attorney General Jack Burton, Treasurer Johnny Sims, Auditor Isaiah Irons, and Commissioner of Agriculture Sean Bell. That's everybody from the Federalist Party. I encourage you all to remember Hayden's message, and good luck to all the candidates. Thank you.
Are you ready for this? So I had a debate prep session with all of the candidates this morning. We went through procedure. The way this is going to work is candidate number one will receive a question. They will have 3 minutes to respond. Their opponent will have 2 minutes for a rebuttal, and then the original candidate will have a 1 minute wrap-up time. So they will have a 1 minute rebuttal on the affirmative side. So it's 3, 2, 1. And we are going to start at the bottom of the ballot and work our way up to governor. Each of the state candidates who are not running for governor will have one question each, and then we will have 4 questions following the planks of each party's platform for the governor candidate. So, do I have both of our governor candidates up here on stage? Let's go, Hodge! Sorry about that. My mistake. Round of applause for these two guys. Sorry. Starting with our Secretary of State candidates. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, you can sit. Sorry about that. Secretary of State. You can have a seat. No, Secretary of State, have a seat here on stage, please. I just need a minute to get situated here, gentlemen. So following the order of coin toss, our first question of our debate will be directed to Secretary of State Nationalist candidate, Michael Niggemeyer. So please go ahead and stand at the mic. As Secretary of State, if elected, how will you use your office to advance the Nationalist Party agenda to improve the business and industry climate in light of the aggressive taxation and regulation your party has proposed?
Of course. So what we want to do, this is a little short. What we want to do is we want to increase local businesses. But of course, increasing local businesses, we care about job opportunities as well. The big industries obviously do that. But we also want to help save pollution. So as long as these big industries aren't creating a bunch of pollution, their taxes aren't going to be raised. So a lot of big industries, a lot of the job opportunities in our state, they don't create any pollution at all. You know, retail jobs, stuff like that. Really, the only ones that are creating big pollution are the ones that are factories, industries like that. But even then, they can make the materials with renewable resources that don't create as much fossil fuels. You know, stuff like that. And we do want to better local businesses. So doing the income land tax, we create opportunities for local businesses to create themselves and better themselves and give job opportunities within local communities. And the money is going towards people that actually deserve it, not billionaires from out of state, going towards people that are within our state. Also, it'll go to people that are selling the things that they're making to people within our state, rather than a big factory selling their stuff out of state to other countries, maybe even. The income is going within our state, it's staying within our state, it's staying local, and it's bolstering our economy within our state. Thank you.
And you have 2 minutes to respond.
Okay. So I agree with what he's saying about needing more local businesses, but problems with that is if we take away more from manufacturer big companies, then the supply and demand is not going to be there as much, and that'll cause problems with the economy. So we need to have a nice balance in between creating more taxes for smaller businesses so they can come and grow, but we also need to keep some of the bigger businesses as well so they can still supply and demand for people that are necessary, and so we can have a flourishing economy as well.
And you have 1 minute response.
Thank you. So The money that we might be taking away from the big businesses, we can put towards the local businesses. So the jobs are still there. The jobs you're taking away from big businesses, they can go towards the local businesses. So you're working for the right person. You're not working for the wrong person. You're not working for the big guy. You're working for the little guy that needs the money for their livelihood, right? And we're not taking away all of the big businesses. We're taking away the ones that are creating pollution, the ones that are taking up extra land that can be used for better things. Our taxes aren't going towards just taxing big companies in general. It's taxing the ones that don't deserve the money that they're getting, that's going out of state. We're helping the people that are within our state. We're helping our own local economy rather than helping the economy of places that we may not care about. Obviously, we care about the entire world as a whole, but we want to better our community. We want people to come to our state. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And our second question is for Secretary of State, Federalist candidate Matthew Springston. I'm going to take the mic. The state's business climate is healthy, and the Federalist Party is advocating for the expansion and diversification of the economy. West Virginia has been at odds with energy opportunities due to the competition of green energy and the continuation or advancement of fossil fuels. Question: to drive the business opportunities forward in the energy sector, how will you balance out the green energy trends with the industrial climate in the state?
Okay, so personally, I think that we need to move towards more green energy for pollution reasons, obviously, but we can't do it immediately in a way that takes away jobs from the natural resources and people like coal miners. So we need to do a gradual trend out of that slowly over many years to where we're not taking away jobs and we're relocating them to a same area job, but it's just a cleaner and healthier way for the environment, and it's still flourishing the economy, but it's just branching it out into a safer and better way of doing that. Thank you.
2-minute response.
Thank you. So, obviously, we do want to create renewable resources. We want to use the resources that we have within our state to better our environment, but we can do that in multiple ways. The coal mines that have been closed down, we can refurbish them, we can clean them, and we can take the negative effects that they have on the environment, and we can fix that and make them cleaner. My sister, she goes to Montana Technological Institute for mining engineering. So what she wants to do is she wants to do exactly that. She wants to come back to our state, and she wants to make the mines within our state better, and she wants to clean them. So as a state, we can be more environmentally friendly. As well, we can also create job opportunities by doing that. We create renewable resource job opportunities. We have to have people work these renewable resources. Obviously, there's different factories. There's types of factories that use coal, and there's type of factories that use nuclear power or wind power. And those places need job opportunities as well. They have jobs within them. So you're replacing one with another, and it's cleaner, and it's better, and it's more renewable. Thank you.
And a 1-minute response.
I completely agree with what he's saying. We need to clean the natural and renewable resources. We need to make them better to attain for the environment. But we also need to, like what I said, get back to what I said. We need to make more jobs for that to branch it into the cleaner, better way and move away more from the old way. Thank you.
Round of applause for our Secretary of State candidates. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up is Alden. Our first question will be to our Federalist candidate. First question to the Federalist candidate. The Federalist Party wants to diversify the business and industry in the state. Among the business opportunities presented by the Federalist platform is the legalization of marijuana for recreational use. The taxation and commercial activity of marijuana, due to being illegal at the federal level, is very difficult due to banking and financial sector not engaging in activity that could leave them exposed to federal trafficking prosecution. With that, how will you enable the industry to grow for recreational drug use without the ability to make commercial deposits?
Tough question. But, but I believe that the Federalists have a good point with the legalization of marijuana, that we wouldn't have as much dangers of stuff. But financially speaking, get what's up. Financially speaking, I think that we can use this. We can open more like marijuana open stores, that like the drug shops that aren't like shady dealers, and like actually the shops the shops itself can get taxed and be financially at it.
Okay.
What is going on? It's falling.
I believe that the recreational marijuana, motion, I think it's bad. Why would we start setting up a new drug company when we're dealing with an opioid crisis? It doesn't make sense. What we need to do is rehabilitate the opioid users. All right, listen. I'm gonna compromise.
Be respectful, please.
Rehabilitate the opioid users, and then get them on the weed. But first things first, we need to work on the opioid users. I yield my time. Thank you.
1 minute response. One minute response.
I agree on targeting the opioid addiction is a bad part of our state, but I believe that weed is not as big of a contradiction for opioid. I feel like using the finances that we can find a way to bring to our government that we can spend on fighting addiction on opioids.
Our second question, Mr. Ronan.
Yes, sir.
The Nationalist Party's platform, please be respectful, gentlemen. The National Party's platform advocates for the appointment of an additional layer of financial accountability for Board of Education spending. At current, there are at least 3 layers to audit for the public education spending allotment in each county. An additional layer would be a 4th auditing arm. How can you, if elected to the office of auditor, justify this policy, and how do you see it as necessary to protect and safeguard the citizens of West Virginia from fraud and abuse of public funds in the process?
To justify that, Heath, education, of course, we're trying to bring more money to schools and such. This is really short. We're trying to bring more money to schools and such. So, yeah, can you help me? We're trying to bring more money to schools and such. And can you repeat the last part? I got to check with the mic.
No problem. Basically, is adding the additional auditing arm, how do you see that as an additional protection or safeguard rather than just unnecessary additional auditing?
Okay. So we need an extra layer because it's always good to be safe. And I'm going to keep them honest and justable because when I'm working with the treasurer, that's what I do. I keep the integrity, and I yield my time. Thank you very much.
And a 2-minute response.
I have an agreement with the educational system, but with the arm of the auditor to help back up the treasurer's decision, with the financial that we get from the gambling and the marijuana and stuff that the Federalists are putting into place, that we can put in and go towards. We can also put in a branch towards education and other problems that we have here when we're here in our state.
And a 1-minute response.
I agree. I mean, maybe after a while we can go back to marijuana, but we need to make a compromise, and we need to work on the opioid addiction first. and then maybe through the taxes, we can open up rehabilitation systems, which then goes into schools. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next up is treasurer. Our first question will go to our nationalist candidate. So our nationalist is going to take the mic. As treasurer, your office would be responsible for providing advice and expert experience to other offices within state government on how policies or laws passed will impact the financial health of the state. The Nationalist Party wants to lower income tax for residents in income brackets for the lower 80th percentile. If income taxes are lowered for 80% of state residents, how do you feel the state's general revenue will be impacted? 3 minutes.
All right. Well, that's a good question. I think there's a lot of moving parts that go into that. I mean, you're taking. Well, first off, let's first address the reason that we want to lower income tax in the lower percentiles is because honestly, those people don't have much, and pretty much everything that everything that they earn is getting taken from them. So they don't have an opportunity to jump up from the lower class into the upper class and moving up in the ranks and be able to build something for themselves because they're trapped just in this, like, in the hole, and we don't have very good systems to get them out of that. So it's very, a lot of moving parts are involved because when you say, oh, we're going to lower taxes, well, then we don't have money. And then we have to get money from somewhere. So the idea is to lower the taxes in the lower bracket, and that will encourage people to get up and moving, get better educations, get smarter, and that will allow everyone to boost up in society. We can get more jobs going. We can raise more leaders like this, and that would, one, be able to boost the economy, which means that we would be able to collect more taxes on businesses. And then the other thing is that we want to utilize the land that isn't being used. We want to tax. When we have people that go out and buy our beautiful land and then sit around and use it for nothing and just wait, then what's the point of just letting them sit on that for free? So we want to tax the land that's not being used. We want to tax that higher, which will then account for some of the revenues that were lost when we're trying to help build us up and get us out and make us glorious again. And us being able to do that will encourage, again, more business. That will encourage people to buy land and use it, or buy land and sell it to someone else so that they can use it. And overall, that will mean we're getting the good usage out of our land, good usage out of our people, and overall, everyone is fully being engaged in society and is not just sitting in the pit or sitting up in the penthouse and doing nothing. Thank you.
And I will take this opportunity, please do not engage in sidebar conversations. Please remain focused on what's happening on stage. When you're up here, it is nerve-wracking enough to be in these seats and at that mic, but then to have the constant noise in the background, it's very distracting, and it makes what is happening up here even more difficult, and you're not focusing on what you should be. So please remain respectful and do not engage in sidebar conversations. 2-minute response. Thank you.
Okay, so I kind of see where he's getting at with the whole raise the taxes and stuff, having them lower for the lower people because they can't really pay much. There we go. But and for me, I don't think it's fair. For the higher, for the unused land, I don't see why they should tax so much because that unused land isn't being used. And if it was being used, it's just, why use land that's going to be taxed so high instead of just get rid of it and then you're not is you're going to be. You get what I'm getting at? I mean, they get me.
1 minute response.
In response, I want to say we're not just trying to tax the land just for the fact of taxing it. We want to tax it so that we can use it. There's only so much land in West Virginia that we can use. We're a smaller state. That doesn't mean that we're weak. We have land and we have a lot of good things to our advantage. But if we're just sitting around and not using it, I think that's a waste of our time. And I think that's a waste of our money and that's a waste of our people. And I see where you're, I don't see what you mean by it's not being fair, that there are people who are working their hardest and covering and doing 3 different jobs just to survive. And they're still living paycheck to paycheck because of the infrastructure that we've built. We have rich people who can know all the fancy little tricks, and they're paying little to nothing on their taxes. When we have people who are working and they're sitting in poverty and they're trying to lift up. And I think we need to do something about that, and that's what we're trying to do.
Question for our Federalist candidate. As the state's chief financial officer, you will be tasked with making decisions regarding how the state's funds are held, managed, and used for the benefit of all citizens. The Federalist Party wishes to see legalized and regulated gambling. Knowing that the odds that accompany gambling are always in favor of the house or the owner of the gambling enterprise, putting the state's citizens at risk for personal economic hardship. How will you educate the public on the financial dangers of gambling?
Okay, so obviously gambling is it's dangerous, right? Because you say I have $5 and I gamble that $5 away for $10 and I don't get the $10. I'm negative $5 now, so I don't got any money. You get that? All right. Anyways, if you have the money to get more money, try to get more money. If you don't have the money to get more money, maybe don't try to get more money. But it doesn't always hurt to try.
I think we're sitting in a situation where people are going into places, and we're trying to propose this idea that gambling is going to be good for the economy. But if we really look at it, what is that going to do for our economy? You are going to have another big business who is just taking all of our money because it doesn't. Correct. Okay? We're already struggling as it is, and we don't need to be enforcing and also propagating these higher industries that are just cash grabs, especially whenever they're stacked against us. All right? I think for the cases of West Virginia Boys State, we're like, ha, we can do some gambling, it's all fun and stuff. But we're dealing with real stuff here. And I don't think that we should just throw gambling around like that as something that we think can be profitable. So other than just for the fun of it, I would like you to explain the benefits of gambling and how that's going to impact society.
1 minute response.
So the benefits of gambling, right? Now hold on, listen to me. I got something right here. So you pay in money, and the chances of you getting money back, not super high. But if you get that money back, oh my God, you're like rich. Okay, hold on. But now, whenever you pay the money that you end up losing, it could end up going to the taxes that could then benefit you guys with better roads, better education systems, better government. Just saying, always gamble.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Oh, please. Next up. Commissioner of Agriculture. Commissioner of Agriculture. Our first question is to the Federalist candidate, Mr. Bell. Part of the Federalist Party platform is to provide subsidies and incentives for marginalized economic sectors. If elected, how could you, as Commissioner of Agriculture, drive the economy through agriculture, farming, and the production of local foods and products?
Alrighty. First off, the Federalist belief is economic freedom. And with this economic freedom, we have came up with the idea of legalizing marijuana. With legalizing this marijuana, okay, we can use this marijuana tax revenue for using it as education. You could build agriculture businesses and education buildings like FFA, 4-H, other agricultural businesses like tech schools and all that. And then farming-wise and wildlife, you could conserve your wildlife to where if you conserve your wildlife, more tourism will come in, which if you have more tourism, your economy skyrockets. And then the farming aspect of it, you have all this legal marijuana tax revenue that you can use. So it's pretty good all around. Marijuana, let's go.
A 2-minute response.
All right, so I was paying attention to that, but what it seems to me was like the way you want to help farming is to take revenue from something that's not farming and help something that also isn't necessarily farming. I didn't hear you talk about like what you're actually going to do to help grow food in West Virginia, right? So what I would have liked to have heard, and if I was asked this question, this is what I would do. I would make it so that farmers can sustain themselves. They don't have to be dependent on the tax revenue of legal marijuana, and I wouldn't if I was going to help farmers, I would help farmers, I would help like organizations like FFA and 4-H because those are good too. But what I would mainly focus on is small farmers that are actually farming. That's it.
1-minute response.
Yeah, he is correct about small farming and everything. But hey, the things that we could do with this tax revenue, like seriously, we could make better schooling. I'm serious. We could get better school lunches. I'm serious. With all this tax revenue, we could do so many good things, okay? All right, we could conserve our wildlife. We could just better our state in general and better our economy, okay?
Question for the Nationalist candidate. The Nationalist Party envisions a future where high-value land is taxed at a higher rate in order to incentivize the development of business and industry. However, continued land development is encroaching on generational farmland in multiple areas of the state. How can you advocate for farmers and agricultural producers if you're raising taxes on their land, which is solely what enables their farms to expand or be profitable?
Mm-hmm. So, first things I'd like to do in response to this question is the way I understood the land value tax is the assessor will go out and assess the value of your land, right? And if you have high value land, but you're using it, right? You're using it to produce something, you're not going to be taxed as much as someone that has high value land and isn't using it to produce something, right? So that was my understanding of it. So under that, what would happen is, because we need food for everything, right? Just like I said before, we can't live without food. We can't do anything without food. Because farmers are producing food, their land, the way they're using their valuable land would be deemed, it would be deemed that they're using it in a useful way, that they're using it to produce something that we all need, and they wouldn't be taxed as much. So, but just to keep talking about like where I'm from in Berkeley County, it's kind of turning into a suburb of DC, and like you said, all the farms are being bought out and turned into houses. And the other main thing that would help with that is zoning laws. If we could get zoning in there, that would help. So that's another thing I would focus on in response to that. So yeah, there you go.
A 2-minute response.
Alrighty, he came up with some pretty good points about about taxes and everything, but small farming is a big deal into that too, because when you think about the little guy and he gets taxed a bunch, he's not going to make a livelihood of himself, in which I believe small farming but for legalized marijuana. You know what I mean? Okay? But we got to think of the small guy, you know? But we got to have that legalized marijuana so we can help out our state with all the wildlife, economy, all that stuff, okay? All right, thanks.
1-minute response.
Again, I just want to point out, all you're talking about is legalizing marijuana. You're not really talking about farmers. So that's one of the things I noticed. And then the other thing, we're actually going to lower income tax for the 80th percentile or whatever as part of the Nationalist Party platform, and that would help a lot of farmers because they don't have a lot of income. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Excellent job. Next up is Attorney General. Attorney General. Let's go, and our first question is to the Nationalist candidate. Nationalist candidate first. The Nationalist Party aims to increase regulation and taxation on chemical plants based on their pollution and harms. Do you plan to aggressively pursue criminal prosecution of workers and companies who pollute the state or cause harm to citizens? 3-minute response.
So, going into that question, if they do harm citizens and the environment, then I do think that criminal charges are necessary. I think before we jump to criminal cases, which I think is a bit of an extreme for that, I believe that it is first necessary that we set boundaries. We mark our line in the sand and we put boundary restrictions before we have to jump to criminal cases. Now, if that does not work out and criminal cases do happen, then I will pursue charging them, as they have violated the law and it is my job to uphold the law. I yield my time.
2-minute response.
As Federalists, we believe in freedom for the economy. And okay, if you're breaking the law, the law is the law. No one's above the law. No organization's above the law. We're gonna have to press charges at that point. But we can't be too strict as to make it uncomfortable for them to practice in our state and drive that stream of income out of our state. We need to have good income for our people, for our children, for our education. So the best thing would be to, set some sort of boundaries, but do it with them. Be with the organization, have the money come in, but have some understandings, sit down with them, realize that, the industry and the state, can be two things together and help each other. And I believe that, working with them would be what is most beneficial for our economy and most beneficial for our people.
1 minute response.
Yeah, so as I made my first point, I do agree with him. I do think that there should be a line drawn in the sand where we do not reach into human and environment injuries where cases can be applicable, but we keep a major revenue source while keeping everyone safe. But as the original question stated, if people in the environment are injured, then they can follow the pursuit of an injury trial, and then they will have to be prosecuted. Thank you.
Question for the Federalist candidate. If elected as Attorney General, you would be bound to uphold the laws of the state and ensure they are in accord with federal law. The Federalist Party aims to legalize marijuana for recreational use. However, at the federal level, all marijuana use is, both medicinal and recreational, illegal. Would you protect citizens of the state from federal drug crime prosecution?
Yes. So, if legalized, it would be their right to do it, and crimes against them would be crimes against our new rules and constitution. So yes, I would protect everybody equally, and I think marijuana is good for the economy.
2-minute response.
So first of all, I think if it is said as the federal law, and it is the Supreme Court, it is the illegal federally, the federal comes before state law, so we should uphold the federal law before state law. Now, if we were to admit marijuana into state law, I think that is a terrible idea. Considering the fact that we are already dealing with an opioid crisis, I think opening up gateway drugs is not a great thing. Think about the already existing things that are laced with things like fentanyl and people dying from that. Legalizing that and making the opportunity for something to be laced being distributed across our state would only further contribute to the deaths happening in our state. So I do think that I will not help federal drug charges because I do not agree with marijuana being admitted to our state.
A 1-minute response.
As Attorney General of the state, if it was federal law, that does come before state law, but I have a duty to protect the people in my state. I would say that marijuana is good for the economy in the way that it also, besides that, it's good for keeping us safe in a different type of way. It's recreational use. There's places where you can have it distributed safely. So ultimately, there will be less cases of laced marijuana because it'll be more safely distributed, by people that are trustworthy, and taken, in safer environments. And it just allows people a chance to have more freedoms, allows for new streams of income to help our state, our new awesome boy state.
Thank you, gentlemen. You're finished. And now, I welcome to the stage your candidates for governor. Our first question goes to the nationalist candidate. The Nationalist Party platform advocates for increased opioid restrictions to counteract the drug crisis. Part of your strategy includes pain medication alternatives, extended treatment options, collaboration with the state's universities to find ways to mitigate the harms of opioids, and other measures. What role do you see the state government playing in this process, and why should state taxpayer funds be used for the financial consequences of the overreach of dangerous marketing by major pharmaceutical companies?
So as a nationalist member, the Nationalist Party plans on, as state government, we plan to directly help facilitate these because what we're gonna do is we're gonna use these big state colleges, WVU, Marshall, Shepherdstown. They have a lot of influence in their communities and their surrounding communities to help just spread information, spread help. So what they're gonna do, and the state government will help them, subsidies will be sent to these colleges in order specifically to help educate the communities, to help provide rehab facilities. In that way, we're going to use pre-existing facilities, pre-existing infrastructure, so as to not use up too much of our state fund, use up too much of our taxes given to the state. And we are going to be able to accomplish this goal just as easily with less money than you guys even think we're going to use.
Okay, 2 minute response.
Recruiting higher education, like WVU and Marshall, as said in their party platform, is important. But if you read their party platform, they focus a lot on rehabilitation. The Nationalist Party focuses a lot on rehabilitation. And I think that when it comes to the opioid epidemic, I think that rehabilitation tells people, oh, well, you can get help, not stop doing it. Rehabilitation deals with people after they have gotten hooked on drugs. So if we want to solve the opioid problem, we have to solve it from the bottom. If we care about the future, and if we care about getting less people hooked on opioids, then we have to nip it from the bottom. So start it young, not just higher education, but let's bring it down even lower. And also prosecuting big drug companies that mass produce these drugs. That's the Attorney General's job. It's been done by West Virginia State Attorney General, and that's what we're going to continue to do. But it takes more than just rehabilitation. We can't just make people get better. We have to stop letting people get hooked on these drugs in the first place.
Amen. 1 minute response.
I think it's funny that the Federalists talk, specifically that Hayden Hodge talks about nipping it from the bottom. The Federalists are interested in legalizing marijuana. The Nationalist Party sees this as a direct threat to our attempts to stop the opioid crisis. By rehabilitation, we're going to stop future opioid addiction. You cannot start at the bottom from the beginning. You start with rehab, you stop the relapse, you stop the addiction, you stop people from coming back to opioids, and then you help the younger ones. And then the adults help their kids. That's how opioid addiction starts. A lot of adults, they struggle with this, they project, they affect their kids in this same way. You can't just nip it from the bottom from the start. You have to start with the rehab.
Yes. First question for the Federalist candidate. The primary plank of the Federalist Party's platform is to further economic growth, development of commerce, and the expansion of opportunities within the state. You highlight that the economy is dominated by healthcare and energy. While many opportunities may exist on horizons, so too do challenges and obstacles. What specific policies and strategies will you, if elected, pursue as governor to advance the Federalist Party's economic development and expansion agenda?
Tourism, 100%. How many of us believe that we live in the most beautiful state in the entire country? I agree. I think that we do. Quick story. My grandfather, he lives in a town called Oak Hill, and it's about 15 to 20 minutes away from the New River Gorge. And so I go up there all the time to see my grandfather, and that place is nasty. I just have to tell it like it is. It's not great. The opioid epidemic runs rampant there. So the thing that makes Oak Hill such a strategic place for tourism is because it's so close to the New River Gorge. So if someone were to go in there with new innovation and new ideas, we could go in there and gentrify the city, which means we clean it up, pick it up, and build in hotels. And on top of that, you have to run the state like a business. I mean, the state is a business. You have to sell this state to people in other states and businesses in other states. And so advertisements, you have to advertise this state, and we have a national park. We have to advertise that national park. We gentrify, clean up, and build hotels in cities like Oak Hill, and then we advertise what we have to those in other states. People will want to come here, and that will make revenue off of tourism. So tourism would absolutely be my number one go-to to make money.
Response.
The word gentrify here is important because when you think of gentrification, you don't think of uniqueness. You don't think, oh, I want to come to a community where everything's been gentrified. I don't want to come to a community where it looks like a suburban hellhole. You don't want that. I also think it's funny that the Federalist Party is interested in tourism and community appeal when that is directly what the Nationalists have fought for. We want small business. That is what you come. If you want to come to West Virginia, you don't want that mix between small business and Walmart. You don't want that. You come here for not only the natural beauty, but for the small communities that make an impact on you when you come here. When you come here, it's not just the beautiful mountains and the rivers. It's the people. It's what they do for a living. It's the community they grow. It's the small businesses. And I think as the Nationalist Party, we hold that very dear to our heart. So, thank you.
1 minute response. Most of our party is based off of the economy. I understand that the Nationalist Party also supports a strong and healthy economy, but you know, we didn't copy you in any way. We came up with that platform on our own, and I think it was interesting how he talked about its uniqueness along with gentrification. It's not just gentrification that brings people to the state. I think that's interesting because our national park is unique. There's not very many of them, and we have that national park, but people aren't coming to Oak Hill and towns around it like it just for the national park when towns like Oak Hill are absolutely disgusting. You have to clean up those towns, you clean up those cities, and people, that draws people in. People don't just want uniqueness, they also want cleanliness. If you have a disgusting state, people aren't going to want to come and stop by and see what interesting parts you have. So I think that's important to remember.
Our third question. The Nationalist Party plans to enact more regulations on chemical plants and increase taxes on them based on pollution and environmental hazards they pose. The Mountain State has a history of chemical and biological manufacturing tracing back to the 1930s. These industries have always served a critical role in underpinning the economy, particularly within the Kanawha Valley, providing thousands of jobs and $1 million of economic impact. As increased competition among states heats up to attract businesses and industry away from other states where they had been long established, how will you ensure that the increased regulation, taxation, and potentially negative scrutiny doesn't drive these companies and industries at large out of state?
Okay, I want to start off and say we're not competing with other states. We are building ourselves up. And I think it's the wrong way. I don't think that's the way you want to look at it. No matter the business the other states get, although we do want people to come here, it doesn't start by seeking competition. So with these chemical companies and these increased regulations, we're not putting down the chemical industry. We're just reforming it. We want it to be better. And if the chemical industry is better, if it's regulated better, if it works better, if it's cleaner, that produces appeal. That produces business for West Virginia. And that's what we want. Nationalist Party, thank you.
2-minute response.
States inherently compete with each other. You are trying to sell your state and make it to where people want to go to your state over another one. Competition is inherent in discussion of what state is best. But when it comes to increased regulations on chemical businesses and such, we have a lot of that in our state. I mean, we're called the Mountain State, and in those mountains we have coal, we have oil, we've got natural gas. We have tons of natural resources, and we need to use those. So implementing these regulations is just going to keep businesses from wanting to come here. There's other places that you can get the resources that we have, and that's where they're going to go if you employ as many regulations as the Nationalist Party intends. Would I love to go green? Yes. I would love to get to a point to where we never have to use coal again. If we can do something in a cleaner way, we should absolutely do it. But until then, we need to use what we have. I mean, we have tons of coal and tons of other natural resources. We need to use it. It's efficient, it's cheap. While we've got it, we need to use it, and we need to research ways to develop greener energy. But until then, let's use what we have and not keep businesses out with regulations. Thank you.
Another thing I think is funny, the Federalist Party came up here the Federalist Party came up here talking about sustainable energy. And now you guys want coal? That's what you guys are going to turn to? We're going to focus on regulating the chemical companies. We're going to keep the business here, but we don't want these chemical companies to affect West Virginia in a negative way. We don't want that. If we, listen, we don't want these chemical companies to keep on damaging, messing up our environment. That's what keeps West Virginia beautiful, is the environment, the mountains, the lakes, the rivers. If chemical companies exploit us, they continue to exploit us, how are we going to come out on top? We need to change this now.
Our fourth question. The Federalist Party's platform outlines the strategy to offer subsidies to business, industry, or economic development engines to help regenerate the state's economy. Where will source funding come from to fund these policy priorities?
Well, I think that we need new, fresh modes of revenue. We've already gone over the gambling, of course, that's been talked about. We've talked about tourism, and there's several other modes of making energy, like utilizing the natural resources that we have. Our economy runs on coal, just like our electricity does. So we have to utilize what we have. We have to invest in new businesses and new forms of revenue, such as gambling and tourism and the like. And on top of that, we have to be willing to grow. We have to be willing to raise money, and we have to be willing to think of new ideas. We need people that have new ideas. I mean, I can only think of so many. My party can only think of so many. We have nationalists and we have federalists in here, each of which, everyone in here has their own idea about how to make money. How can we make a state make money? And we have to employ those. We have to have communication, and we have to have unity to be able to grow this state and to make money, to be able to fund these subsidies. So that's what I've got. Thank you.
2-minute response.
You guys want to hear what's funny? He didn't say a thing about the marijuana. Every single other person here that came up for the Federalist Party, they talk about revenue from marijuana. Where is that? Where is that?
That wasn't part of the question.
No, the question was, where is the revenue coming from? Every single person here talked about marijuana. Listen, gambling and marijuana, is that really where we want our revenue to come from? First of all, it's gambling in a boys' state where we're going to teach these kids to get addicted to gambling at a young age. So I don't think that's a great idea. Marijuana, since marijuana is legal in the federal state, and if it becomes legal in West Virginia, it is going to be incredibly hard to tax the incoming marijuana. Because it's smuggled in from the south and east. You guys are really rowdy. Thank you.
1-minute response.
I want to start with the gambling issue that he brought up, because that was the secondary one. I'll start with that one first. I'm not a gambler. I wouldn't encourage people to gamble, but I also love freedom. So if you want to gamble, I say let you gamble. But he mentioned marijuana. I think he just really wants me to talk about marijuana. Yeah, okay. I'll talk about marijuana. Yeah, we make money off marijuana too, guys, by the way. So, I don't smoke weed. I never plan on it, but that's the source of revenue that will also go to these subsidies. So the question was, how are we going to fund it? Yeah, marijuana. I guess yes, that's an answer.
Question number 5. The Nationalist Party platform commits to increasing funding for schools, salaries for teachers, and bolstering support for teachers' unions. This is definitely a positive for the state. quiet please, for the state, its schools, and its students. If the solution is this simple, why haven't we done it already?
The solution is not this simple, and it's rather complex. My solution, which I came up and talked about, is not the full solution, although I think it will better the climate of education here in West Virginia and the funding for West Virginia teachers and schools. Like I said, I just want to increase the business and STEM programs, not just in high school, but giving them jobs, giving them like a step-up program. I mean, I haven't heard anyone talk about it. I think if it's a statewide program, if there's a standard for it, and we find a way to find less bureaucracy within the school systems of West Virginia, we need less funding for teachers, not teachers. Less funding for positions in the school system that are unnecessary so that we can direct funding to teachers, so that we can direct funding to schools. Thank you.
2-minute response.
Well, I also don't think that the solution is that simple, like you said. But the Nationalist Party platform seems to indicate that it is that simple. I think that when it comes to having a better school system, one, it starts with a good education program. We have to have teachers that are well educated and are good teachers and will teach our students what they need to know. And that starts with drawing people into the state. It all goes back to selling your state. You want to make teachers that are trained, wherever, to move here to teach in West Virginia. So focusing on West Virginia schools and, making teachers want to come to the state of West Virginia to teach is how we can better our program and also our education programs and also school choice. Parents should decide where to send their children. Whether it be public, private, or charter, parents know best, and that's one way to better a child's education is by letting parents decide what that education is.
I did not hear a plan from the Federalists on their education system or what they want to do. So far, all I've heard about what they want to do for the kids is teach them gambling at Boise State. But no, so far all I've heard is from us about education. I think besides just bringing in people to the state, besides bringing in kids and teachers to the state, instead of finding the solution elsewhere, I want to find a solution here in West Virginia. I think we have the potential to fix the problem. We don't need to look out for people to come in and help us. We can solve the issue ourselves. That's the way I see it.
Next question. The Federalist Party's platform outlines the legalization and regulation of gambling. West Virginia consistently ranks near the top of every bad list and at the bottom of every good list. The economy of addiction, drug use, alcohol use, and gambling all contribute to the cycle of poverty and continue to drive addictive behaviors that unfortunately target low-income individuals or those already relying on public assistance. With so many residents already entrenched in poverty, how do you see the pursuit of this policy as a net positive for the state?
That's a good question. So, like I said earlier, I'm not a gambler, and I wouldn't encourage anyone to start gambling. But I do support freedom. And freedom, I believe, trumps everything. So, if people want to gamble, let them gamble, But, with that said, the point is made. Gambling can lead to very harmful and negative addictions. So where are we going to go from that? Education. I think we need to educate those who wish to start gambling on how to gamble appropriately and not gamble all of their life savings away. People need to be taught moderation. If you want to gamble and if you want to throw all your life savings away, then that's your choice. You have the freedom to do that. But with that said, I think it's important that we educate people on what the dangers of gambling can be. And that goes with any addiction, because I know my opponent is going to bring up marijuana, so I'm just going to get on it before he does. That goes with any addiction. I think that education of any addiction is important, and so that's where I stand on that.
2-minute response.
The candidate over here, he already told you all the negative effects of gambling. Gambling addiction, of course, is a serious thing. I think it's less of a joke than the Federalists think it is. They think it's one big laugh. If Hayden Hodge comes in here, I don't think he's going to realistically pass anything that will let you guys gamble next year. Or not you guys, whoever comes in next year. I don't think it's a good idea. It's a great idea to teach kids the troubles of gambling, but to just give them an option to go out there and do it, I'd rather you let them do it when they become adults. That's just me.
1-minute response.
Yeah, I mean, in a real life scenario, letting children gamble isn't a good idea. That's why in a real life scenario they don't. But here we're modeling as if we are adults. We're running the state here. So here we are adults with freedoms, and if you want to gamble, I say, let you gamble.
With the conversation of economic development looming large across all conversations, if this audience were a member of CEOs and business executives, how would you persuade them to move their business to West Virginia?
That's a good question. For now, here in West Virginia, a lot of us experience corporation exploitation. So far, I don't think a lot of corporations in West Virginia don't belong in West Virginia. I don't think they do any good besides bring a couple jobs, bring a couple bucks that could be used elsewhere. CEOs, I think they can find that they can support the small communities of West Virginia in other ways. They can bring money in other ways, such as maybe bringing in more interest to the tourism and the beauty of this state, rather than just building to the monotony, the ugliness, the unattractiveness, the ununiqueness, if that's a word, to the communities, to the neighborhoods, to the streets of West Virginia. Why should we care what a billionaire wants? Why should we care what a CEO that lives in the Bahamas wants? Why we should care about what we, the people who live in West Virginia, want? Is that right?
2-minute response.
I don't personally think that, most, I think is what my opponent said, businesses here are bad for the state. I think that bringing in jobs and revenue is very important. So I would say that to a group of CEOs, it starts with lowering taxes. The Nationalist Party has a land value tax, taxes on higher land value. If a business wants to go into a high value piece of land, are they going to choose West Virginia? No, they're not going to choose West Virginia because there's a tax on it. And also the regulations on chemical businesses. West Virginia is known, whether we like it or not, for coal, oil, all those natural resources. If businesses try and come here and they find out that we have regulations that'll tax them through the roof and not let them do their jobs because of pollution, which is an issue. We do need to solve pollution, like I said. The goal would be to go green, but until then, if businesses find out that they're going to be taxed beyond imagine, they're not going to come here. So to a group of CEOs, I would say we're going to lower taxes on you so that you can come here, and we're going to take away as many regulations as we can while maintaining the general welfare of our citizens in the state.
1-minute response.
I want to clarify the land value tax. The land that is being taxed is not land that is being used. If a CEO wants to come in and use the land, he is welcome to use the land not at a high tax. That tax is just as low as any other land being used. Instead, if you have a piece of land, say in a city where the land value is high, and you're not using it, if it's an empty lot, that land is being taxed because what is that land being used for? Nothing. That's right. That's right. Now, if you have land that you are using, it is being taxed at the normal rate. So this funding is coming in from another exploitative practice, from large CEOs, from large companies that just rack up land and they do nothing with it. Thank you.
And our final question. The Federalist Party's platform advocates for the legalization of recreational drug use, including but not limited to marijuana. A consequence of advancing this legislation in other places has been increased instances of driving while under the influence, increased crime, and the permeating public smell of marijuana usage. What plans does the Federalist Party and you, if elected governor, have to protect the safety and rights of citizens against the harms of legalized drug use?
Yeah, so personally, I have walked around in Washington, D.C., and I have smelt the rank smell of marijuana being smoked. But to answer the question, I think it starts with educating our students. If students are in whatever level of education, whether it be elementary, middle, or high, I don't think you would start in elementary school. But I mean, don't say no to drugs. I guess you do start in elementary school. But if we legalize marijuana, we need to educate our students from the lowest level how to do this responsibly. Obviously, don't drive while under the influence. Don't smoke publicly to where you're annoying the daylights out of everyone walking past you. It all starts with educating people how to be proper, how to be responsible with their drug, with weed use if they do choose to do so. So to answer the question, I would say educate, educate, educate.
2-minute response.
The truth about West Virginia right now is a lot of us, West Virginia as a whole rather, is on its knees to the opioid addiction crisis. The opioid crisis is huge in West Virginia. That is where we rank the highest nationally. All right, maybe West Virginia's not on its knees. All right, maybe I'll find a better word. But rather, if you guys care about West Virginia, I'm being serious. The opioid addiction is serious. This is not something that we can laugh about. It's not. We want change. We want change now. We don't want change in 50 years, in 30 years when we have kids and they are affected by this if we choose to live here. People don't want to live in West Virginia because of the opioid addiction, the opioid crisis. Legalizing marijuana, it's not going to solve that at all. It's going to lead to more trouble. It's going to lead to more gateways, that's a big word, to the opioid crisis. It's a key word.
Please be respectful.
Opioid addiction is a serious problem in West Virginia. I don't think legalizing marijuana is a way that we can solve this. Opioid addiction and opioid recovery is a key pillar of the Nationalist Party. We take pride in trying to solve the problem, and we just don't think that legalizing marijuana is the way to do it.
1-minute response.
So I've heard several nationalists talk about the opioid epidemic when discussing marijuana, and I've been waiting to point this out. I just needed the right time to do it, and I think this is it. Marijuana is not an opioid. It's a plant. And I do understand the concept of a gateway addiction, and I do think that they exist, but people get addicted to anything. People can get addicted to porn, people can get addicted to drugs, people can get addicted to gambling, obviously, that's one. And these can all... I said that. You can get addicted to gambling. Yes. Yes, you can get addicted to weed. You can get addicted to weed. But, what is that? Okay, my point is, weed is not an opioid. So gateway addictions do exist, but gateway addictions can come from anything, not just weed. So legalizing weed wouldn't be the only gateway addiction, but it would be one addiction.
To these gentlemen and all of the other candidates who were on this stage today, a massive round of applause.